You remember Supernanny? That old show where some British lady shows up and teaches your kids to behave and upstages you as a parent? You know, it's like the Dog Whisperer, but for kids. Well, someone asked me if I remembered it, and the thought of the show gave me such horrible whiplash that I thought I would pass that on to you. So let's talk about Supernanny, an American show featuring a British woman. And they make sure you know that she's British, because everything from her car to her getup to her accent screams Britain.
Shouldn't have to carry you up here.
That's how I always talk to you.
Which is confusing, because why does everybody think that nannies are British? You know, we got Supernanny, we have Nanny McPhee, we have Mary Poppins. Like, come on, everybody knows that England was a made-up country to make America's backstory way cooler. For those of you who don't know how an episode of Supernanny goes, it features professional child wrangler Jo Frost. She's sitting in her car and she opens up her little laptop and she gets a video from people and they're like, "Please, Joe, please help me. My children are writing on the walls and calling me by my first name." And Joe's like, "Well, that sounds pretty shitty. I better get over there and teach those kids how to behave." So we're going to talk about two of those episodes. So the first family I want to talk about is the Harmony family. And gee whiz, they're anything but.
And that's where he's sitting. Let's do it 3 minutes and then you'll come and get him.
So the Harmony family consists of 3 children. We've got Ian, we've got Jake, and we've got Grant. Ian and Grant kind of beat on each other all the time, and they're always screaming and yelling. And Grant can't stand it when his mom leaves. I mean, to the point where he's running barefoot on gravel. He's biting on the couch, he's being locked outside and screaming and pounding on the door like an escaped convict who wants inside. It's insane. It's no surprise these kids are brats. I mean, you can't even take them out to eat.
We do go out to eat probably at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We're usually prepared for embarrassment.
Now, after watching that clip, you're probably wondering why you feel extremely bad for these parents. And that, my friend, is called secondhand embarrassment, and I guarantee the entire restaurant felt that same exact feeling that you just did. As for Jake, he's pretty well behaved. He doesn't really do much, just seems like he's done with all the BS going on.
Wait, guys. Ian and Grant fight a lot, and it's really annoying. And they scream.
And if you thought that the 2 little boys couldn't get any worse, every single night Grant will get up out of his bed and kick Dad out onto the couch. My lord, not even bedtime is safe. So Supernanny shows up in her British car with her British hair and her British outfit and British accent and decides to observe the family for a day.
Grant, I'll be right back.
When Erin got back, she went to put Grant down for a nap.
Okay, we're done.
And when she turned the computer off, he just lost it.
I have waited and waited.
I mean, look at this kid, man. You get kicked off the computer and you're trying to make yourself puke? What are you gonna gain from this? And she even follows him out to eat, and the kid gets so upset he just starts speaking in tongues. They even have her stay over a little bit to see how bedtime goes, and Joe makes herself comfortable. I mean, you know, checking outside, raiding the fridge, sitting down on the couch. What is she doing? She didn't bring, like, a book or anything? But she does catch the kid, and then she watches the kid kick Dad out of bed, and he's sitting there in the living room with her. Okay, so we'll take a step back. I know the appeal of the show is for parents to watch it and go, "God damn, I am so glad that my kid isn't a little shit like all those kids." But you gotta understand, the show isn't about how the kids are bad. It's more about how the parents are bad at parenting. I mean, if you watch this family, the mom does everything. And the dad's a total pushover. I mean, his brain short circuits when he's asked to speak up.
See? And then say something. This is about you giving a quick response so that you react to the children's behaviour, which proved to be very challenging for Dad.
Brushing teeth.
Give me a response.
Oh.
You see your kids hugging, what are you going to say?
See, the thing about the parents is that this is what we call a common denominator. This is something that happens in the show every episode. It's like a formula almost. It's the kind of beats that you gotta hit that makes the show the show. But Jo actually does know a lot about children. And, with a couple of set rules and a bit of a rough beginning...
Ian pushed the boundaries. He got up. He refused to sit in the spot. Okay, walk authoritative. Head up, Jacob.
Grant, Mommy wants you to get down from the counter now. You need to sit on the naughty spot.
By the end of the episode, the family actually turns out all right. So with that, let's look at the next family.
My name's Cheryl Carsley. I'm a single mom with 5 kids, divorced.
Not okay. You guys stop fooling around.
So now we have the Carsley family. It's a single mother with 5 children. 4 boys and 1 girl. That sounds really, really shitty. Another common denominator about this show is that the first day is always observation. Jo makes her first impression and gets to meet all the kids of the family.
Bombarded by 5 children. And what's your name?
All kind of excited to see me.
I'm Elijah.
Elijah.
You're Elijah. And who are you?
I am Tape Child. The root of the family's issues in this episode is that the kids kind of have to fight over Mom's attention since she's the only one in the house and Dad really isn't in the picture. Especially with the daughter not being able to get all the attention from the only other woman in the house, she resorts to dangerous ways to get her mom's attention. Like trying to burn herself with boiling water.
Jeez, that's not okay. Chantal, you could have just burned yourself.
It was so dangerous. Chantal nearly put a pot of boiling water all over herself.
You genuinely feel bad for the mom. I mean, she's doing the best with what she's given, and those 5 kids are running rampant around the house. There's one more common denominator about Supernanny that I want to point out, and it's that the ideas that Jo makes up for the families to help the kids get along and do the chores that they're supposed to do. And she usually comes up with creative ways to entice the children to behave. There's always a timeout spot. In the first family, that was the naughty spot. They'd sit down in a corner or on a rug, or when they were playing football, they'd sit in the sidewalk. Although some of them may not have actually sat there for most of the time. But with the Carsley family, since it's just the mom and the kids, Jo kind of gamifies chores. She's got points and teams and rewards that the kids get for doing their chores, and that actually brings out positive reinforcement from the kids to allow them to want to do the chores. And with the Carsley family, much like the Harmony family, this episode ends with the mom making it out actually pretty okay with her kids, and it seems like they've all started to get along a little bit better. However, that brings up the next part that I want to talk about. Since I'm talking about reality shows, I want to ask the question, how real is this reality show? And lucky for me, I was doing a little bit of research and I think I found a pretty good answer. Surprisingly, Supernanny is actually pretty real. How do I know that? Well, a kid who was on the show posted one of those Ask Me Anything type posts on Reddit. And when somebody asked him how real the show was, he described it as pretty non-intrusive, although it was just a little bit scripted. He also mentioned that Supernanny and child Wrangler Jo Frost is exactly like she is on TV off camera, and that after the show was over, the family kept in touch with her from time to time. And that's pretty interesting. It's not as real as it could be, but it's realer than most other reality shows. So, do I recommend Supernanny for anybody who hasn't seen it and is willing to watch it? Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it, genuinely. As a 22-year-old guy who has never had a kid in his entire life. And the best part about this is that if you want to see the episodes that I talked about in full, they are on the Supernanny channel. That's where I watched them. I'll put the link in the description if you want to actually watch them. As well as other ones, because they have some from newer seasons and they have some from older seasons. But before I go, I'll leave you with this. If you have another reality show you want me to take a look at, put it in the comments. I actually might watch a few. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, I'd consider clicking subscribe. It's free and easy. And if you don't like me, you can just, I don't know, unsubscribe. I don't give a shit. Share this with your friends, leave a comment, do whatever you want. Every time you do one of those things, though, it makes me grow big and strong, and then I can make more of these. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I want to keep doing it. So, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for sticking around. And I guess I'll see you next Thursday.